Kyle Ryde was on pole position for the first British Superbike race at Outlon Park after our trip to Spain, and it was his teammate Ryan Vickers, the championship leader from Navarra, that took the lead early on. Glenn Irwin got off to a decent start and was sandwiched in between the two Gorilla OMG Yamahas. At this stage was in third, with Christian Idden making a good start, with Rory Skinner in just behind them as well. Bit of a moment and close contact between Christian Idden and Kyle Ryde down into Lodge Corner in the early stages. The two Kawasaki's of Jason O'Halloran and Max Cook weren't far behind, and Tommy Bridewell was starting to make progress as well. Slight error there from Christian Idden allowed a change in the top three positions, and Glenn Irwin finally made his move on Ryan Vickers down into his chicane to lead. One by one, Bridewell picked off Rory Skinner, and then next on his radar was Danny Kent, the reigning champion, looking to try and get his first top five registered for 2024. And slowly but surely he did manage to home in on the two Yamahas. Kyle Ryde went through on Ryan Vickers, who was struggling for grip in the closing stages of the race. And then Tommy Bridewell pounced as well, going through in the latter stages into turn one, past the struggling Vickers. Out front, Christian Idden did a good job to try and reel in the race leader Glenn Irwin, but it was not to be. Danny Kent charged alongside Ryan Vickers, and that went all the way to the line. It was a bit of a scary moment for Glenn Irwin on the final lap as he was coming up to some traffic, but he got it all done in the end. A good battle between Ryan Vickers and Danny Kent, but ultimately it was Glenn Irwin who won from Christian Idden and Kyle Ryde, with Tommy Bridewell coming in fourth and Vickers just getting Danny Kent on the line. Glenn Irwin was on pole position for the sprint race on day two at Outlon Park on Bank Holiday Monday, and as the lights went out he held on to P1 into turn one ahead of fellow Ducati rider Christian Idden, and a great start for Tommy Bridewell from the second row on the Honda. He moved up into third place but was overtaken by Danny Kent. The two completely motorbike Kawasaki's were in the groove inside the top eight, as Tommy then poached back third from Danny Kent, and they all went in pursuit of the race leader Glenn Irwin. There was a good battle going on for fifth, sixth as well. Josh Brooks and Leon Haslam with Kyle Ryde just up ahead of them. Max Cook also present in that battle. A nice move here from Jason O'Halloran, although slightly cheeky on Haslam there. As the laps clicked down, Haslam repaid the favour down into Lodge Corner, but he just ran wide and O'Halloran got him on the cutback. This was a lovely move from Tommy Bridewell down into Cascades to move up to second, and it was Glenn versus Tommy all over again, with Glenn, of course, on the Ducati and Tommy on the Honda. Idden tried to bite back on a couple of occasions into Island Corner. Further back, O'Halloran put a move on Josh Brooks down into the final turn. As we got to the closing stages, it was time to see if they could put a fight towards Glenn. It just wasn't quite happening. Christian Idden thought about a few moves in the closing stages, but wasn't able to get within touching distance of Tommy Bridewell, and equally Tommy not able to lay a glove on Glenn. It was a supreme ride from the Hager PBM Ducati man, and it's 2 out of 2 for the weekend for Irwin, who was victorious ahead of the reigning champion Bridewell and Christian Idden in third. Christian Idden was on pole position for the third and final race of the weekend at Outlon Park here, round two of the championship, and he got the whole shot too into turn one ahead of Glenn Irwin. A good start there also for Danny Kent and Ryan Vickers. Leon Haslam was up inside that top five in the early stages as well. Vickers pushed his way past Leon Haslam. Tommy Bridewell didn't get off to the greatest of starts. The reigning champion from the front row had work to do early on, but picked them off one by one. There was the move down into Cascades on Jason O'Halloran on the Kawasaki. Out front, Christian Idden doing a great job leading for a number of laps, fending off Glenn Irwin. It took a while, but Tommy Bridewell finally managed to get through on the rocket BMW of Leon Haslam. There was a bad moment here for Braden Elliott. He crashed out of the race, the Australian. And likewise for Peter Hickman, who was absolutely furious as he trudged off after a crash outside turn 1. A mechanical for Kyle Ryde. Meanwhile, both Glenn Irwin and Danny Kent were reeling in. Race leader ridden. He just made a tiny mistake in the Britain chicane, and pouncing was Glenn Irwin, who took it deep into his. Ryan Vickers then joined the party late on, and as we came into the final laps, Ryan Vickers made his move on Danny Kent to move up into third. Christian Idden threw everything at it on the last lap to try and get through on Glenn Irwin, but Glenn defended wonderfully to take his first treble of 2024, and this new era for the PBM team coming away with 3 victories at Oulton Park. Idden wasn't quite able to get through on him, but a brilliant weekend for the Oxford Product Racing man nonetheless. Irwin wins from Christian Idden, and Ryan Vickers was third ahead of Danny Kent.